Alright, everybody, this should be the final part for my Spongebob reviews. I decided I'm gonna go ahead and just do this now because I'm definitely feeling a bit icky. And usually I get worse before I get better. So I kind of want to get finish this video's, SpongeBob review thing up at least, for now. So that way when I'm feeling better, I can do the special videos I have planned for the holiday stuff this month. That said, though, actually a good start for the video. We get to talk about a Valentine's Day episode of SpongeBob. You know how I show you guys all my love and support? I'm giving you guys videos. Well, we get a love-related episode called Valentine's Day. Speaking of love and support, I would like for you guys to please hit the like button. Well, at least subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button. I'm not sure what that does on YouTube, but at least subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. Also, give me love and support by following me on Instagram and Twitter. I really appreciate that. Now that we got that out of the way, let's finish this up. So, Valentine's Day is next. With 10 episodes left, this is the episode we're starting with. This episode is, I will say the title card itself is kind of a little bit generic. I kind of, calling it Valentine's Day, it should be called, a gift for Patrick or something, or a surprise for Patrick or something like that, because the episode is about, SpongeBob and Sandy planning this big surprise for, Patrick here. A giant, chocolate, a giant chocolate, balloon. Yeah, a giant chocolate balloon, which somehow, Sandy is able to fly that, I don't want to question that, But to be fair, though, we do live in a world with SpongeBob where, fire apparently can survive underwater and all that, so it's best not to question the logic of SpongeBob. That said, though, a lot of people actually don't really like this episode. A lot of people actually do not like it. There are a handful of people that do. It's not like that one episode I reviewed, and the episode, what was it? That's that Gary episode, where he has doesn't get fed and all for a few days and all that. Oh, I already forgot that. Oh yeah, I was a teenage Gary. That was the name of the episode. I was a teenage Gary. This one is actually, I feel like it's more on the more on the good side. I feel like a majority of the people still like it. But a lot of people don't like it, and I'll get to that in a second. I have to say though, number one, I like that we get to hear the Hawaii music again, the nostalgic Hawaii music again. I really like we get to hear that again. I keep forgetting that it's called Hawaii, not Hawaiian. So it's called Nostalgic Hawaii. But I do like we get to hear it in a title card. It's pretty nice. Like I said, they play this music a lot in Season 1. I don't remember how often they play it in Season 2 and 3, but they play it a lot in Season 1. It plays a lot. And I really do like it. I like it a lot. And the theme's pretty nice. Speaking of the episode, I do like the little beginning part where SpongeBob is giving out Valentine's Day people to random people. I do like we get another cameo from Mrs. Puff. That's not in a boating school episode. Of course, SpongeBob just caused her to crash a boat. Mrs. Puff, that's probably on Mrs. Puff's watch, so Mrs. Puff probably should have stopped the boat. Instead of, kept driving. That's kind of her fault there, but it's so nice to kind of see that, she's in this episode too as a cameo, pretty nice. I kind of forgot about that until I started talking about the episode here, that she makes another cameo here. But I do like the little pink sky and all in the background, it's pretty nice. Actually, they don't even really keep. I kind of wish they kept it throughout the entire episode. They just kept the pink sky for the Valentine's theme episode. That would have been nice. Speaking of this Valentine's themed episode, I believe it is the only time SpongeBob so far as recording this. I think this is the only time we get a Valentine's themed episode, which is really interesting. Like, I figured they'd bring a concept like this back. But surprisingly, no, they don't. They kind of just forgot about this concept of an episode, which is kind of a shame, because I do like the concept of it. And unlike most, Valentine's episodes, we don't really see any love, like actual like people in relationship stuff. Like, what we see is friends. Like, SpongeBob and Sandy are obviously, giving Patrick a gift for a friend gift, but a lot of times in these Valentine's episodes, it has to do something with falling in love with somebody, and I like this concept a lot. As somebody who's not interested in dating anybody, I kind of like this concept, like, not every Valentine's episode needs to have, somebody falling in love with somebody or involve something like that, like, it can be just for fun, like, and I do like that a lot. Also, I like how we get an early concept of, Glove World. Instead of Glove World, it's a Valentine's Day carnival. It's pretty nice. Also, I have not been talking about this throughout the entire season, but we also get to see, we get to hear SpongeBob's iconic, deep voice. It'll appear, I think it appears after the pre-movie era too, but it was mainly a big thing in season 1, where his voice kind of changes. Like, it does it in Sandy's rocket, too, and he's going in the air vent and all that to try to find a height or a spot where he can stay in the rocket. That little concept before Sandy, decides to let him come along, in that episode. And then the first episode of the entire show, Help Wanted, we get to hear his iconic voice, too. It's nice that we get to hear it, here, too, but they kind of don't really use it a lot after the first season, too, and it's kind of a shame. Like, I think they might use it a little bit. Like I said, I think they use it after a pre-movie era, too, but they kind of just, they don't use it a lot like they do in season 1. It's kind of just, his superhero, his voice, I kind of like that a lot. That said, though, for the most part, the episode is actually pretty good, Like you may be asking, well, why do people hate it so much? Well, it's one specific thing, and it's Patrick. See, Patrick goes literally freaking bonkers. He goes freaking bonkers because, SpongeBob gives everybody else a gift except for him. And to be fair, honestly, I think this episode's overhated. Maybe I should use the word overhated, because a lot of people don't hate it. But, I got a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't. It's kind of a mixed bag for people. But I don't get why people hate it. Yeah, Patrick kind of acts selfish and all that, but I kind of think his freak out moment is pretty funny. It's really funny and all that, and yeah, I'd be mad at SpongeBob too. Like, you're giving everybody these gifts, including this random fish gal, who she even flat out said, that she never met this person before until this morning, so I can see totally why Patrick is pissed off at SpongeBob and all that, but, yeah, I don't know, I don't really see, they don't make him too unlikable. I don't really see, why people don't like the episode. I've seen Patrick do a lot more shitty stuff, including the episode Dumped, which is gonna be the next season. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to watching that episode again, but I'm gonna have to do it for the review, yeah, Patrick's a complete prick there and all that, and it's not really funny, but, we do see some moments in the pre-movie era where he's a prick, but, they actually make it a concept out of it, or they make it funny without making him too unlikable, or they make him, get his comeuppance. This one, like I said, I don't think he goes a little overboard, like eating this kid's candy and all that, but I just really like the concept of it. It's really funny. Also, we get to see, a real close-up of his eyes going all crazy. It's really funny, it really is. I didn't mention that in, the episode, Employee of the Month. That episode, there's some close-ups of SpongeBob and Squidward when they're shaking hands, doing a fake, truce and all that. But yeah, I don't like those close-ups. They were kind of gross and all that. But here it's not too bad. Um, but um, but yeah, he does drool a little bit too. There's like drool coming out of his mouth. Like I guess it's supposed to be like maybe they add that detail because like foam in the mouth. You know, when somebody has rabies or something, you know, or animal has rabies, they'll have like foam coming out of their mouth. Maybe that's kind of like a detail they added. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really hate it. I really don't hate the idea of this. And in fact, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a good. Yeah, we're gonna give it a good. And then 120 points. Yeah, I have to say this episode's really good. Like I really don't get like why people hate this episode. I mean, no against people's opinions. People are right to have their own opinions. Even though sometimes I feel like they're kind of questionable. In this episode, maybe I can see why people might not like it. There are some times where I feel like people just kind of trash on something because they trash on it because of, you know, and kind of don't really have a reason. But I can kind of see maybe Patrick's, you know, selfishness in this episode can kind of drag the episode out a little bit. Plus, he kind of spends a lot of it kind of mad. But I don't know. I don't think this episode's really that bad. I actually really like this episode a lot. It's really good. It really is. And, I like the concept of the whole Valentine's thing. They go to a little, you know, like a carnival and all that. It's pretty cool. But that said, though, I think that's all I really have to say about this episode. I guess I can say it too. We also get introduced to a new type of scallops called chocolate-eating scallops. Yes, we get introduced to a new species of scallops. And I really do like that a lot. Aren't clams and oysters and scallops kind of the same kind of species? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're kind of about the same species. I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. But that said, though, that's pretty much all I have to say there. But I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next episode, and that is The Paper. The Paper. Another episode that has an interesting concept. Now, this one, because it's paired up with the Valentine's episode, back when, we had cable and all that, this episode wouldn't appear a whole lot because it's paired up with a Valentine's episode. I'm surprised they didn't just go the route they did with the Halloween episode and just have, another, romantic episode or something like that, or they could have just done something not even romantic. They could have just done something, like I said, with a friend and all that. Maybe one of the characters, maybe Spongebob has a birthday or something, or Patrick has a birthday and they have to plan a birthday or something. Have they ever done an episode like that? I can't remember. Well, I mean, there are times where we see Patrick celebrating his birthday and all that, but I don't know, have they ever actually had an episode, a full-fledged episode of them focusing mainly on a birthday like that? I'm not really sure. There is a season 6 episode where Patrick does have his birthday, like I said, there's that, but I don't know. I guess there's also, I guess they do focus on it a little bit, but usually they have another plot, and that one's kind of shoved aside. I've never seen a full-fledged episode where they focus on that. I don't know, it's just kind of interesting, but yeah, The Paper is up next here, and this episode, I gotta say, I really like the concept of this episode. So you'd think a worthless piece of paper would be just worthless. Useless. But I really like the idea that they take a very simple concept and actually turn it into a full episode. That's what I like about the SpongeBob crew and all that, and the writing team. They always find a way to take a very simple concept and turn it into a full episode. Now, other cartoons have kind of done a little bit of this too, but usually SpongeBob was very well known for this. I think even later on they kind of do this stuff too, which is really cool. They take a very simple concept and then they turn it into an entire episode. I guess to be fair, though, a lot of them kind of do that now in general. They'll take, there's a lot of characters that do like random stuff, and then they kind of just turn it into a random episode. But back in the day, like especially in the early 2000s, which I guess technically this is well, I guess this episode came out in the year 2000, but around this when SpongeBob first came out, I don't think a lot of cartoons really did this kind of concept. They had great ideas for great episodes, but they didn't really take something simple like a piece of paper and turn it into a great idea for a whole episode. That's what I like here. And that's the thing with this episode, is I really like how, SpongeBob gets a piece of paper from Squidward, and Squidward is like just talking about how it's garbage, and I really like how SpongeBob SpongeBob is like doing all this cool stuff with Squidward, and Squidward ends up just feeling jealous of the piece of paper and all that. It's really funny, like it's really funny. I do like that a lot. Also, we get a famous meme here that plays on YouTube and all that, and like other social media platforms like Instagram and all that, and Twitter. I think I've seen it more on YouTube than Twitter, or /X, whatever you want to call it now. But I think I've seen it a little bit on Instagram too, where they like where they're like SpongeBob's playing music, and so is Squidward with the clarinet, and he talks about all the wrongs he's doing with the paper. Not the paper, I mean his clarinet, and praising it, but he points out that the music being wrong and all that. I really do like that concept of the meme and all that. It's pretty funny how people come up with it. I've seen a lot of it with like the new Super Mario Brothers games with the music and all that, but I've seen it with other stuff too. But yeah, it's been a lot of like music, like with the games like that, or like other Mario games. It's pretty interesting. But I do really like the concept of like the meme and all that. It's pretty funny. There's a lot of memes we'll get to down the road. There's gonna be one in season 5 that's very famous too, but we'll get to that one down the road. But yeah, the paper episode, yeah, I gotta say, I do really like all the funny things he's able to do with it, and and like I said, I do like how Squidward is able to Squidward gets all jealous and all that, and I really like the concept of how I don't even know how this is possible either, but like I said, we should question SpongeBob logic, but SpongeBob is like showing off with a piece of paper, a slideshow, kind of like the old cartoon styles, especially Walt Disney, with Mickey Mouse and all that, how they show off like different pieces of paper. I like how he's able to like show off that, and somehow he's able to play a video or recording stuff too, which is very interesting. But I do like that thing and all that's pretty funny, which shows that you can do literally anything with that piece of paper. I guess except drive a boat. Because apparently I think it was a boat. Was it a boat or a bike that Squidward was driving or riding? I can't remember. Throughout the show, we see him riding a bike or we see him riding a boat. It kind of goes back and forth. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I like the concept of the episode a lot. It's really funny, I like how he actually trades everything, including his own clothes, for a piece of paper, and SpongeBob even offers to give him the piece of, or his house and everything back, but he ends up just telling him to just keep his junk. I wouldn't use that word junk, Squidward. Because you have a piece of paper. A piece of paper can't give you a house. That's one thing I think a piece of paper definitely can't do besides drive a boat or a bike. It can't do that. But I do like how he trades everything and all that, and then he tries to replicate SpongeBob stuff and he can't do it. Which I would think would be kind of annoying, but honestly, they do kind of make it kind of funny where it's not super like in your face on Squidward, and Squidward technically Squidward could have just got a whole new piece of paper. Like, he didn't really need to, go and do this with SpongeBob and all that. Like, he could have just done that. It's just kind of... It's very weird. But, yeah, I do like, too, the part where he stomps it on the ground and all that. It's pretty funny. And then Patrick randomly shows up And, as they say, a worthless piece of paper. But like I said, SpongeBob finds a way to make everything so unique. To be fair, a piece of paper, yeah, you can still do a lot of things in real life with it. You can draw stuff with it. You draw things with it, or you can turn it like into origami, like you saw there. Or paper dolls. Or turn it into an airplane. You can do a lot of things with a piece of paper. You can't, like, fly with it and all that, or, do those slideshows that I showed with SpongeBob, which I still don't get how he did that, but, like I said, I'm not gonna question that logic. But yeah, I just like at the end of the episode, Squidward's just naked on his floor, without his house and all that, and I'm just like, it's just kind of crazy, but yeah, he will obviously get his house back, because, like I say, SpongeBob offered to give him his house back, and he didn't promise anything there, so he should be okay, But, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, this episode, though, has got a really good concept. I'm gonna give it a good, and also 120 points. Yeah, another 120 points. Another very good episode. I really like this episode, too. Now, let's move on to the next episode. Next episode is ARG. So this episode is actually, I think I brought this one up, that, this is probably Mr. Krabs' probably most cheapest, episode of the entire, first season. For the most part, he's this typical, strict boss who, loves his employees. He loves his employees, but yeah, he can be cheap at times. This episode's where we start seeing his cheaper side, and I'm gonna say I kinda like, they can make good episodes out of this concept, but I kinda like the part where he actually cares about his employees. To be fair, in this episode, he kind of does something I don't think he'll do in the other episodes, and that is play a game with SpongeBob and Patrick. Like, play a game with it and all that, but we get to see him play a game with them, off work. Usually Mr. Krabs in the later seasons would just, would make SpongeBob work, or do something random and stupid just to be a bossy boss to, his employee. This episode, he's just sitting around playing a board game with them because they finished all their work, And I will say there's a part where they, eat gum off the table, which is kind of gross. I'm not gonna lie, that's a little bit gross, but, besides that, I don't know, I do like the concept of it. I really like the episode where, I like the episode's, concept, Mr. Krabs ends up getting kind of greedy with the game, and he ends up kind of, decides to take, SpongeBob and Patrick on a treasure hunt. To no one's surprise, it's pretty much, because you can see a glimpse of it when he's talking to SpongeBob and Patrick about only the captain can read the map, because we can clearly see it is the board game attached to the map. Which, honestly, is a very smart idea. It's a very smart idea. Which is based off of a real treasure map. Which is very interesting. So it's basically every detail down there, which, with the Flying Dutchman and all that. So the whole thing is pretty interesting. But I do really like the idea of him and SpongeBob and Patrick going on a treasure hunt. Also, Squidward is not in this episode at all, which is very interesting. That's another thing in the early seasons of SpongeBob. A lot of times we do not see Squidward in a lot of times in the Krusty Krab or something, which is very interesting. Either that or Mr. Krabs, one of the two. We don't see them all the time in the, we'll see occasionally down the road, but it's very common in the earlier seasons not to see Squidward or Mr. Krabs in the episode, but they'll either mention their names, or they'll just not appear at all, which is very interesting, which, and I like that, not every episode needs to have Squidward or Mr. Krabs in it, They can do a whole, like I said, they should have their days off, where they can just hang out at home and all that. I do like that a lot. But yeah, he does not appear at all in this episode. He's actually not even mentioned in this episode, which is interesting. That said, though, I do like the part where we see the Flying Dutchman, though, and he actually gives them, like, 2 gold balloons, but doesn't give, Mr. Krabs any. To be fair, Mr. Krabs totally deserves not to get anything, because he was trying to hog all the treasure to himself. Honestly, he could've, if he was just gonna take the treasure himself, he probably would have been better off just, like, not even bringing them along, but I don't know, but yeah, I like we see the Flying Dutchman again. It's pretty cool to see him again. I thought he appeared like 3 times in this season. I don't really remember. We do see him in the comic book, so I guess that's technically is 3 times, but like actual appearance, not in comics. Maybe it's only 2 we see him, because I don't think he appears again in this season after this episode. So we can't see the old cell animation with him. I do like the whole cell animation with him. You can see his like the glow effect and all that. They kept his like his older like look, but they kind of updated the graphics a little bit. But it's kind of cool to see his cell animation and all that in the episode. It's pretty cool. I don't know. I kind of like the old cell animation. It's kind of cool. But that said, though, I don't know, that said, Mr. Krabs is definitely very cheap in this episode. He can be very cheap at times, but, I do like that he took the idea of what SpongeBob said about it. Or was it SpongeBob? No, I think it was Patrick. No, I think it was Patrick that said that, about, it being based off of a real treasure map. So he took that idea, and that's how he found the treasure. So that's really cool. I like that he figured that out. But yeah, bringing SpongeBob and Patrick, not probably the best idea. To be fair, though, SpongeBob and Patrick, they really don't do anything wrong. I guess Patrick does technically. I guess he does get them lost a little bit, but and crashes the boat. But otherwise, they really don't do a whole lot in this episode. It really screws Mr. Krabs over. Mr. Krabs, like I said, He should have shared his treasure with them too, but he even makes them sleep outside the tent, so yep, in the cold and all that. So yeah, we're definitely seeing Mr. Krabs' more cheaper side and kind of selfish side of him, and I kind of don't really like the direction of this Mr. Krabs. Like I said, there can be good ideas, but I kind of like it where he can be cheap at times, but still care about his employees, But otherwise, this episode is definitely getting a good. And then we're also going to be giving it another 120 points. Yeah, we got another 120 point episode. These episodes are actually very good. Like we're getting quite a few of them in the later seasons here, and I like that we're getting a lot of very good ones later on. That said, though, one more thing I want to point out is that this is the first SpongeBob episode to actually feature the pirate music, which I don't remember the name of it, but it appears in the title card theme. This music also appears still throughout the entire show, but they kind of forgot about it in the title cards. It does appear a lot in the I guess it appears not like a ton, but it appears off and on throughout the entire show. Like in pirate, related episodes are like moments. Hold on, let me let my dog outside real quick. Sorry, I let my dog out here so he can go potty. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say here about this. But, I will say, though, I guess about the music, I don't know if it actually, I think Fun it appeared, but did it appear again after this, before this episode, or was this actually the first time it appeared, but after Fun? I don't remember. But that said, though, let's go ahead and move on to the next episode. Next episode is Rock Bottom. So Rock Bottom is up next. But it is up next. And Rock Bottom is actually a very interesting episode. Number one, this is the first time we see Glove World. Yeah, this is the first time we see Glove World. Remember I talked about Valentine's Day was the first time we actually see we see an early concept of Glove World, but it's like a carnival instead. This is the first time we actually see an actual Glove World. And I gotta say, this episode has got some very strange vibes. So what happens is, SpongeBob and Patrick are on a tour bus. For some reason, they're going to Rock Bottom. I have no idea why. I guess the bus driver took a wrong turn because they're the only two that end up in Rock Bottom. The others just go somewhere else. I don't know. Or the bus driver could have just been tired with SpongeBob's shit and just ditched him because he kept getting hit in the head with the balloon. Which I'm just consider that balloon got him all bruised up. I'm like, what the hell is that balloon made of? I don't know. But the whole idea of Rock Bottom is really nice. I really like the vibe. It's really nice, and I'm glad that it'll make an appearance again down the road. It's really nice. Also, Rock Bottom's music also appears throughout the show too. It's another soundtrack that'll appear. But it kind of appears more later on down the road. It's kind of weird. This is one of the tracks that definitely appears more. It appears way more as the seasons go on than the other ones. It appears usually when we have strange moments in the show or something, or we have there's an episode on Back to the Past where they kind of have a strange moment where they're trying to figure out where they're at and all that, with Merman and Barnacle Boy and all that. It's pretty interesting to hear the music there too. But yeah, I do really like the vibe. I like the different monster designs. They're really, really nice. It's certainly better than those god awful trench billies in season 7. Speaking of, the whole Back to the Past episode, which also appeared in season 7, we got that whole ugly trench billy episode, which I still fucking hate and still looks ugly today. At least these designs look very, unique and don't look ugly. That said, though, I do like the part where SpongeBob and Patrick are trying to get to the bus and all that. They can't tell the bathrooms apart and all that. But I do like how SpongeBob gets stuck there, but while Patrick ends up going. And we also get we get introduced to SpongeBob's grandpa, which I don't think we never actually see him. We never actually see, I don't think, his grandpa throughout the entire show. We do get a cutaway, or not cutaway, a little thought bubble in a season 3 episode, The Sponge Who Can Fly. But I don't think we actually see him in the actual episode at all. And that looks like a different SpongeBob, Grandpa SpongeBob. So, I don't know, it's kind of weird. But maybe it could be, one on one side or the other. I don't know. I don't think they ever explain either in the Sponge Who Can Fly, they never really explain on which side of his family that's on, if that's his grandpa on his dad's side or his mom's side. I don't know. But that said, though, I do really like the idea of this episode and the concept. However, I will say it can be a little annoying at times. SpongeBob trying to, get a candy bar, and this asshole comes and takes his freaking candy bar. I kind of feel bad for that, and yeah, I can see, it's kind of annoying. He's trying to get a bus back home and all that, and yeah, I can see maybe some people might not like the episode because of this, but I think for the most part, they really do get creative with some of the gags, like him disguising himself as a bench. It's pretty funny and all that. Honestly, at this point, though, I think SpongeBob would be better off just getting something to climb up to the top of the damn road, which is still kind of funny how there's just like how there's just a random like road that goes up there too. Like, you know, it's pretty funny. But that's where we got the introduced to him, SpongeBob's grandpa, or his imitation of him. But yeah, it's pretty much, like I said, but yeah, it can be a little annoying at times, but I don't know, for the most part, it's actually not a very bad episode. I like the concept, I like the atmosphere, it's got enough to go for it where I can still give it a good, and then I will also be giving it 98 points. Yeah, it's still getting 98 points. I still think this episode can be a little frustrating at times, but for the most part, it's not really that bad. Like, I think it's really good. Definitely a very good episode. You know, when it comes to concept, I kind of feel bad for SpongeBob a little bit. Like I said, him getting his candy bar steal for that bus guy and all that. I kind of feel, well, not the bus driver himself, but the bus guy himself is kind of annoying, but otherwise, it's not really that bad of an episode. Still a pretty good one. Now let's move on to another episode called Texas. Texas is next. Now this episode is really nice. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time we get mentioned Texas in season 1. You know, Tea in the Tree Dome, which, you know, technically it's still season 1 here, but it is Sandy's first appearance where we hear about Texas tea and cookies. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time we actually hear Sandy's Texas you know, like, you know, hometown and all that. We hear about that. But I do really like the idea of it, and I also like how we get a nice musical number. Like, God, this musical number is really good. And this is not the only time we'll hear a musical number for Sandy. We get a couple of them. This one's probably my favorite of the 3 that I'm aware of so far. I don't know if she sang any more songs like in the recent seasons, but this one's definitely a very good song, very catchy. Also, they have a little voice clip of a random guy, a folk singer guy. I heard he passed away. I don't know when he passed away, but yeah, he passed away. But it's still kind of interesting to get a cameo of that. But I like too how they spend the entire episode trying to get SpongeBob and Patrick are trying to you know, like help Sandy out and make her feel welcome, so they throw this party and all that. It's really nice. I like the part too where they're poking fun at Texas, which I heard a lot of people don't really like that. Like where they kind of like, well, I mean, to be fair, they kind of do mock, like make fun of people like from Texas. But to be fair though, I don't think they're like making fun of them. I mean, Patrick guy says like makes fun of like Texas being, you know, dumb and all that, but I mean, to be fair, I think they're making more fun of the state, and even then, I think they're not really making fun of people. It's just like, SpongeBob and Patrick are not the brightest, and honestly, I don't think they've ever been to Texas. I haven't been to Texas. I actually want to visit there in the future, but I've never been to Texas before. I actually do want to visit there in the future. I've been to a Texas Roadhouse, but not the Texas. I hear even Texas Roadhouse is technically not originally from Texas, which is interesting. Yeah, I do like the part where she drives off and then Patrick says, who cares about dumb old Texas? But that's kind of what set off the whole thing about them making fun of it. But I do like how she heard that and all and came back, which just gives them a reason to get her to go for the surprise party. Which, to be fair, she should do that. Like, I know it's too sad for her to see her friend. She doesn't want to be reminded of him. But to be fair, I'm like, those are your friends there. Like, you can't at least go say goodbye to your friends, you know? Like, I don't know, you can't just go say goodbye to your friends before you go to Texas. I mean, yeah, it is kind of sad, but it's sad for them, too. It's like if I were to move somewhere else, and I wouldn't say goodbye to my friends, but I'm like, because it's too sad. I'm like, yeah, it's sad, but it's also sad, you know, like, because they won't be able to see you one last time. But that said, though, I do like the part where she goes fucking badass and, chases them down like a maniac. It's really funny. Also, speaking of this moment, there actually is an old Spongebob poop thing, YouTube poop thing. Honestly, the YouTube poop things on YouTube a lot of them are not very good, but these older ones were kind of edited, kind of funny, where they made them actually funny. This one, instead of having Sandy, it's Squidward, like Squidward, Patrick kills Squidward and all that, and then it has, them chasing him, he's chasing them down and all that. It's really funny, the edits are very funny there. I miss those old SpongeBob poops, YouTube poops in general, because a lot of them anymore are just stupid and not really that funny. They don't make any sense. I think it might be deleted now, but I'm sure somebody probably saved it somewhere, so it might be able to be recovered, but it's still pretty funny. But that said, though, back to the actual episode, yeah, so she chases them down, and once again, Mr. Krabs' restaurant sadly gets destroyed, but I do like their idea of Texas, which really shows you they have no idea what Texas is. They have 10-gallon hats, they're literally 10 gallons of waterish or drink hats, which technically is not. Texas people wear, cowboy hats and all that. But they're supposed to be, they wear, these big cowboy hats. So, and then they have, literal peas in a can pie, and barbecues, literally, spiky barbecues. It's really funny, they're very clever jokes, but again, that shows you they have no idea what Texas is. Also, we see Flats the Flounder again in the background, which is pretty interesting. But I really do like that. I really like how she realizes that, everybody cares about her, and I like that. I like how everybody cares about Sandy, and I like that they throw this whole big party for her. But they throw this big party for her, and just to show they appreciate her, and it's really nice. It's a really nice ending. Also, I like how Squidward is just randomly pissed off. Why is he so pissed off? I don't get that. He just sits just in a bad mood, I guess. But I like how we get a last part where we hear Patrick saying, "Who cares about dumb old Texas?" And I like that last line there. It's pretty funny. But yeah, this episode is definitely getting a good and definitely 120 points. I love this episode. This episode is definitely really good. Definitely one of my favorites of Season 1. I really like this episode a lot. I love this episode. It's really good. Definitely one of my favorites of the season, and I really do like it. But that said, though, let's go ahead and move on to the next episode. Next episode is Walking Small. Got another Plankton episode. Not very many in this season. He's appeared a lot throughout the season, but we never had a lot of episodes focusing on him. This episode, though, actually has a return title card theme from Plankton, the first episode. Which, after this episode, it actually doesn't, it disappears until season 5. It won't appear again until season 5, this theme. And after that, it doesn't make a comeback again. Which is kind of a shame. Unless they bring it back, maybe they might bring it back down the road, I don't know. It's just kind of weird that it disappears after this episode and doesn't appear again until down the road. But in this episode, though, Plankton, is trying to open, or trying to, like, I'm not sure if he's trying to, like, relocate the chum bucket or, like, add another chum bucket. I'm not sure what he's trying to do, but he's trying to, like, lure away all the people so he can work on, like, his chum bucket. But of course, everybody can't hear him and all. And to be fair, like they're just trying to enjoy their time here. You need to, like, if you want to, like, put something there, you need to talk to, like, the mayor or like the mayor of the town or something like that, instead of, like, just randomly, like, putting your chum bucket there. But I like how he uses Spongebob to actually, get what he wants, basically, and tricks him into being more assertive. To be fair, though, Spongebob definitely needs to fight back, because he lets people cut in front of him to get ice cream. But he lets them just cut in front of him to get ice cream. And then he lets somebody sit on him and all that. So, yeah, he definitely has some issues. I'll give Plankton that. But honestly, though, technically, Walking Small, well, this episode, Walking Small, Plankton definitely, he definitely, goes a little too far with it, and, I haven't brought this up either yet, that technically Karen actually does not appear in this episode either. This is one of the few times where, like, we have a Plankton episode, but don't get to see Karen in here, which is interesting. It's also an episode where he doesn't actually steal the formula either. I haven't brought that up either yet. He does not steal the formula. Or the Krabby Patty, because technically the formula actually does not appear yet. Like, they actually do not show the formula off until later. So in the first few episodes of the season here, where we have Plankton, they actually do not have the formula in there. They just have a Krabby Patty, which probably make more sense for him to steal, especially if he has a laboratory. That can tell him the ingredients. Why does he need the formula? I don't get it. But that said, though, yeah, I do really like the concept of this episode. I really do like it, and but of course, SpongeBob does not learn really anything at the end. I don't think. I think he kind of just learns to be nice to everybody. Which, I mean, yeah, you gotta be nice, but like, but when you're like, but letting people just walk all over you. Yeah, he can be kind of clueless about that, and I do like the part where we get to see him, like, have a random, elephant trunk when he pops the ball. It's pretty funny and random out of nowhere, and then we also see another part of him, him where he gets this random tan. Yeah, he has, like, a random tan. Yeah, he has a random tan, and honestly, it looks like very, very dark, like black, like almost, like which I didn't like. You wouldn't think his skin color would turn like a brown color, kind of like like African American colors, and all that, I figured it. I mean, I guess to be fair though, there are Americans who his skin color can change to that are white people, but usually it's like a goldish color. His color actually changes like an actual it actually changes an actual black color, which is really interesting. But I do really like the idea and all that. But yeah, this episode has got a lot going on in it, and I really do like it. Definitely gonna give it a good and another 120 points. Another 120 points for sure. Now we only got 4 more episodes to go. Next up is Fools in April. Another holiday episode that only appears like... This is another holiday episode that only appears like once and then never appears again that I'm aware of. And this episode is about SpongeBob celebrating his favorite holiday. Like, April Fools, which is something we actually had, a few weeks ago. I was actually trying to get this video out around that time, but I didn't get to it. This is before I was gonna split it all up into pieces, but yeah, I kind of, decided to do it like this because it's easier, and I'm fine with that. But technically it's still April, so, yeah, but this episode, Fools in April, is about Squidward getting annoyed with SpongeBob. He's getting annoyed with SpongeBob about... SpongeBob is kind of... I mean, to be fair, SpongeBob is kind of a little bit annoying in this episode. He does laugh a lot, which can be kind of annoying. But then Squidward decides to do a prank of his own to get kind of payback on SpongeBob. Unfortunately, though, when it comes to April Fools, there are pranks that... There are funny pranks, and there are pranks where you go too far. Like, you go too far, and then it can get kind of annoying. Like, for example, about a good prank. There's a good prank where, back in, I think I was in, I thought it was 5th grade for a long time, and I think it was 4th grade. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was 4th grade. My teacher, Miss Myers, did this thing with brownies, where we were supposed to make brownies, but instead of being brownies, like actual food brownies, it was the color of brown, and it was shaped like an E. That joke was really funny. I was a little disappointed we didn't get brownies, but it was a funny, clever joke. Squidward's joke, however, goes way too far, and he gets hurt and slams into the glass. Surprised it doesn't shatter a window, but also runs into somebody's ass and all that. It's really funny. Like, again, like what is with the creators and fetish, like fat fetish jokes. Again, I'm not complaining. It's a cartoon, but still, they make these jokes a lot with like fat guys and all that. They'll have like these jokes. It's pretty funny, but I do feel bad for the guy getting his ass ruined by Squidward, but I feel more bad for SpongeBob because he has to go through all of this, and then so everybody's all pissed off at him, and I don't blame them. Squidward totally deserves to get called out for what he did. His prank was way too far, and he went way too far with the prank. And I know a lot of people actually, I think, don't like this episode because of the whole concept of SpongeBob's annoying laughter and all. I see some people rank the episode pretty low on season 1, but I don't know. I don't think it's really that bad of an episode. I really do like it. And I like actually that Squidward actually goes to apologize to him. Of course, Squidward can't do it, so he tries all these other ways. I do like how he blows his head off and somehow turns his head into this abomination, Muppet-looking creature thing. I don't even know what the hell it even was. It's really funny and random, but I just like he also has a message bottle thing to it. It's pretty funny, but he's very ashamed to apologize to him, but it shows that he really does feel bad for what he did, and he apologizes to him. And this episode here reveals that he actually does kind of care about SpongeBob and everybody else. Of course, though, because everybody was in the house and all that, you kind of feel bad for him. I mean, well, obviously the whole thing with SpongeBob and all that, in his house and all that, they're in his house, So they April Fool him because he says, like, promise you won't tell anybody and all that. And I do like how he says April Fools too and goes crazy in his house and all that. But the thing is, though, yeah, I think he does actually care about people, and I like that. I like this side of Squidward. I kind of miss this side of Squidward. We don't really see this side of Squidward a lot in the later seasons. I like this side of Squidward, that he actually does care. That he can get annoyed with SpongeBob, but he does actually care about him, and I like that. And I think that's another reason why maybe people don't like the episode a lot. Or they think it's probably one of their least favorites of season 1. A lot of people would say probably I Was a Teenage Gary would be pretty low, but I've seen some people rank this one pretty low too, and that's probably because of the whole ending with the April Fool's joke. But to be fair, they were probably all in his house to make him feel better for what Squidward did to him, trying to make him feel better. Because that's what friends do. They try to make other people feel better by cheering them up. So they probably were already in his house and all that. We see Patrick randomly there too, like chewing on this string, which is pretty funny. But yeah, for the most part, yes, I don't think I don't think it was a big middle finger to Squidward. I think, they weren't trying to, like, prank him. I think, because he did say, well, you promise not to tell anybody, and, but yeah, this episode is really good. It's very heartwarming and very good. I'm definitely gonna give it a good, and then 120 points. Honestly, I did think about giving this one 100 because, it can kind of get annoying with SpongeBob's laughter a little bit, but I think for right now, I'll give it 120, just because maybe I might change my mind down the road. If I do, I will make a solo review on it, but for right now, I think I'm going to give it a, 120 points, just because I really like seeing this side of Squidward. I like how he goes to apologize. Something that, Little Yellow Book fucking completely ruined, and, I do not like what they did to Squidward to get Little Yellow Book and the townspeople, but we'll get to that episode down the road, too. We got a long ways to go before we get there, but, yeah, definitely a very good episode. I really like this episode a lot. But, that said, though, let's move on to the next episode. Next episode is Neptune's Spatula. So, fun fact about this episode, this is the first time we see King Neptune in this episode. Yeah, this is the first time we see King Neptune. King Neptune makes his very first, appearance in this episode. And I really like that. I really like we see him in this episode. It's really nice. That said, though, he can kind of be a little bit of a jerk at times, which can kind of be a little annoying, but I do like how, Patrick tries to stand up for him when he won't believe that SpongeBob actually, won't actually believe that he actually, he's actually the one who pulled the spatula, which actually would be the second time we see a golden spatula. The first time would be in Plankton. Like, I kind of wish we could see the golden spatula again in like in his house or something. Maybe SpongeBob collects spatulas or something. I could see SpongeBob collecting spatulas. He's like a fry cook. That's actually an interesting idea. Like, I wouldn't collect probably spatulas, but I wonder if there's people out there that actually do that. If you guys do, please let me know down in the comments. I'm really interested to hear. But I do like But I do really like the idea of Neptune challenging SpongeBob and all that, and Patrick literally fucking again calling him out for what he did. That's really nice. I like seeing this side of Patrick. It's really funny and nice. But Neptune is one of those characters or slash people that, even if they had literal photo proof or something, they will still not believe you. I mean, we do have all this AI now, but still, I mean, even back then, some people were like that, and no matter what, they will not believe you. But we spend the entire episode where they go to Atlantis, and we get to see well, before we get to Atlantis, we do get to reveal that we get to see Tom Kenny in the shower again too. Again, I don't know why people had this on their mind. It's kind of funny, but also kind of weird at the same time. This is the second time we see him in the shower. It's pretty interesting. But we see Tom Kenny in the shower, and it's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But I'd like to know the concept behind all that, like what made them think about that. As a whole, a joke. But speaking of jokes, there is one I want to point out here about this old woman who says, "Holy smokes." Patrick says, "Ew," like, I wonder why that is. Like, is that like a transgender joke or something? I don't really know. Honestly, I kind of don't really like the backlash some of these shows do with transgender characters, or transgender people in general, but, I don't really know if that was a joke or not. I mean, I don't even know if it's transgender, I don't know, I don't know what the joke was there, But I do like to, speaking of Patrick, he spends the rest of the episode where his eyes are on his pants instead of on his head. It's really funny. But I like too how Spongebob actually wins, because King Neptune, although he makes a million Krabby Patties, nobody likes them. So not Mr. Krab. So King Neptune actually has SpongeBob teach him how to make Krabby Patties, which I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised Mr. Krabs would allow that. I guess to be fair, though, technically he is King Neptune. He's the king of the sea. So or at least around the Bikini Bottom area. Because there are different kings who rule different parts of the world. Because down the road we'll get a special specifically for Atlantis, where we'll actually get another king later too. But we'll get to that episode when we get to that one at some point in time. Not a lot of positive things about that episode, but we'll get there eventually. But this episode, yeah, they don't really focus on the Atlantis part too much, which is kind of a shame. But like I said, I do like the concept where he teaches him and all that, how to make a Krabby Patty and all that, and I do like his god form. I guess we do get to hear his deeper voice too, his fancy superhero voice. Like I said, I think it appears throughout the entire show, but season 1 was kind of where it kind of was big at, but I don't know. But yeah, this episode is definitely going to get a good, and then I'm going to even giving it, I didn't give it a score for some reason. Oh, here we go. I guess I met another animation error. I hate when I do that. Like Fools in April, I'm kind of questioning if I should have gave this 100 points or 120, because there's not really anything wrong with the episode, but there's not really a lot of things to really go back to too much. But there are a lot of jokes I do like in the episode too. But it's not really the most funniest of the episodes. But I can say that a lot about season 1. A lot of the episodes are not like super funny, but still a pretty good episode. I don't know. I think maybe 120 points is probably a fair score. But like I said, down the road, if I have a score, or there will be times where I probably won't know what to give an episode for score-wise, because sometimes some of these episodes are kind of hard to grade. If that's the case, then I can always just give them a specific score and then do it down the road too. I don't know. But we got 2 more episodes. Next up is Hooky. Hooky is one of the last episodes, and this episode is about sea creature's worst nightmare, and that is hooks. So Mr. Krabs actually goes in there and warns Squidward and SpongeBob about hooks. Which, by the way, Mr. Squidward, I don't think actually appears in the last episode I reviewed either, which was, Neptune Spatula. But he appears in this one. I do like the idea of SpongeBob playing with hooks, and even like this is where we start seeing Mr. Krabs doesn't give his employees breaks. So this is kind of where we're starting to kind of get these more cheap jokes. And I'm kind of starting to kind of just like, okay, I don't know, I'm kind of starting to kind of like, we're getting to the Mr. Krabs where I'm kind of like hit or miss on him, like he has episodes where he'll be good and funny, or episodes with concepts around his character which can be interesting, but the fact that he just doesn't give his employees breaks, it's kind of a little bit questionable. Not as questionable as the whole not paying, his employees, but we'll get to that down the road too. But SpongeBob takes a break with Patrick to go to the carnival. Yeah, another carnival. This time it's actually not a carnival, it's a bunch of hooks. And I think they have revealed, I'm not sure if this is true, but I think they revealed that literally a kid dies, or at least gets stuck in a can of tuna, as Mr. Krabs points out that you can either go to a gift shop, or, yeah, I messed this up. This one's definitely getting good, though, and I'll explain why here. I meant to reveal that later, my bad. But I was gonna say, yeah, he could have been killed, or we never really hear from the kid again, so if it actually killed him, that's pretty dark and messed up. That's pretty messed up. But I like that, they kind of showcase that. It's kind of creepy, but also kind of interesting, that they literally show something like that in a SpongeBob world. I mean, to be fair, though, we do see SpongeBob drying up in that one episode, but this is even darker, because we don't even know what happened to the kid, but yeah, Patrick and SpongeBob, SpongeBob tells Patrick about the hooks being kind of dangerous, and then Patrick, of course, being, the great friend he is, talks him into it, and I like how Mr. Krabs goes in there and sees that they're using the hooks, and I like that Mr. Krabs does actually still care about SpongeBob. Still can't give him a break, though, but I do like how that he gives him actually but he actually gives, he actually is trying to protect SpongeBob, but SpongeBob and Patrick don't listen. And we get the whole sailor thing with him, too, because, he's like a pirate, I don't know if in season 1 if we ever get revealed, I guess we do have a dream, we have glimpses of him being a pirate, but we never actually see him talk about his pirate, stuff, his past and all that. But I do really like, that he talks about a sailor promise and all that, and even though they promised, SpongeBob and Patrick still go, because once again, SpongeBob gets manipulated by Patrick once again to do the hooks, and when it reveals that he gets actually hooked and goes to Mr. Krabs for help, and I do like how here's the thing though, a lot of people don't like this ending. They think it's a little bit harsh for SpongeBob to lose his his underwear and get completely nude. To be fair, though, Mr. Krabs did warn him not to do this, and he did it anyway. And it reveals that Squidward and Mr. Krabs were behind the hook thing. But again, Mr. Krabs was only doing it to teach him a lesson, because he didn't want him to get put in danger. And I really like that a lot. And technically, Squidward, obviously was doing it because he wanted to humiliate SpongeBob, because that's Squidward, but definitely very good there, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it a score. It's definitely getting 120 points. And I swear the wind's starting to pick up out here too, so I'm gonna have to get inside. But I want to finish up the review because we're almost done here. Like I said, normally I would do this, inside, but because I'm not feeling the best, I don't know how I'll feel tomorrow. Like, I'm functioning fine right now, but I'm not feeling the best. I think I'm getting something, so, that's why I'm getting this done now. But that said, though, let's move on to the final episode of the season. And what a way to go off with the season with a, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode, the second one. Interesting thing to point about this episode, this episode of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy is the only Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy themed episode to not actually have the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy theme in it. This actually has a completely different theme. But they do play it in the actual episode, but I really do like this theme a lot. It's pretty nice. But SpongeBob, wins a conch shell for a contest, which for some reason Merman and Barnacle Boy weren't notified for. I'm like, if you're gonna do something for them, you probably should notify them. Either that, or maybe Merman forgot or something, which is possible too. But he wins this contest, and he tries to test out the conch shell and all that, and, yeah, it's pretty interesting, but that said, though, this episode can be a little bit annoying at times. Like, SpongeBob can be a little bit annoying, like, he constantly blows the conch shell and all that, and, surprisingly, they don't go around this concept a lot. I figured they would. Where they would go through the whole boy who cried wolf, thing, which a lot of cartoon shows do, where they summon a lot of people, and then they end up, like, thinking they're faking it until it's actually real. But it's actually real, and all that, but they don't do that here. Instead, they just they focus on SpongeBob hanging out with Merman and Barnacle for the day. That said, though, even though it has some frustrating moments with him, I do like, the whole boatmobile thing with the invisible thing and all that. I do like that. And I also like, I do like seeing SpongeBob spend time with his heroes. It's really nice. Also, Patrick does not appear in this episode either. A lot of a lot of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episodes, Patrick is actually featured in there. Not this episode, though. Not this one. There'll be another one down the road we'll get to where he's not in it either, but that won't be until, like, season 5, so we have a little ways to go. But that said, though, yeah, I do really like some of the jokes in this episode, and I like we get the first introduction to the Dirty Bubble, who is actually voiced by not Tom Kenny, but a different voice actor. See, later down the road, he'll be voiced by Tom Kenny, but he's voiced by a different voice actor. Apparently he passed away, like the voice actors of Merman Man and Barnacle Boy, he passed away too, so he's not around anymore. But he only voiced the Dirty Bubble in this one episode, and that's it. Which is very, very, weird, very weird. I don't know why they couldn't get him back again, but I'm not complaining. Tom Kenny does a pretty good job, with Dirty Bubble. I will say I do like him better, with this voice, but Tom Kenny does a really good job, too, with this. He's a very good voice actor. If he wasn't so expensive, I probably would hire him in the future for my projects. I really would, because I do want to make animation and stuff down the road, but he probably would cost a lot of money to hire as a voice actor. That said, though, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about it. There's not really a lot else to the episode. I guess I do gotta say, I do like how they're in this diner, too, but they're in this diner, and we get to see it's like a 50s or 60s style diner. It's really nice. I think it appears again down the road, too. I could be wrong, but I think it does. But that said, though, there's not really a lot else to this episode that I can think about. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think I'm pretty much about done for all I have to say. We'll go ahead and give this one a good. Oh yeah, I forgot to. I did not do it separate. 87 points. Yeah, I forgot about that. That I did not have it like that. Because I think I had another. I thought I had another title card there. Like for the good and then the score system, but I forgot to to add that there. Whoops. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think 87 points is definitely good for this one. Because there's a lot of frustrating moments in this episode, but it's not too frustrating. There's enough jokes in this episode to make it stand out. And I do like we get our first introduction to the Dirty Bubble. And we also get to see Merman Man and Barnacle Boy in their underwear and all running to his house. That's pretty funny. And Merman Man loses his towel. That's really funny. I tried to like see if they actually hid like a little wiener in there because I'm not surprised they didn't do it. I would have been more surprised if they actually added it in there as a glimpse, but I can kind of see why they didn't do that. They actually do make a joke about that with the fly thing with Patrick in Texas. I didn't point out. There's an adult joke where SpongeBob says your genius is showing, which is, penis showing is what Patrick thought, which is very interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much all the episodes. So that is every episode of SpongeBob Season 1 review. Now let's give it a score here. So there are 41 goods, 0 meh, and 0 bad. This one is definitely getting 120 points. I'm honestly shocked. I'm shocked with this. I literally thought there was going to be, well, I mean, I've been doing this review for a while, so I'm not, like, super shocked, but in a way, I'm still kind of surprised that none of the episodes were actually meh. There were some episodes that were close to getting meh, but none got meh, and none of them even got close to a bad, because, like I said, bad is lower than meh. That's really interesting. Like, I literally am so shocked about that. That said, though, don't get too used to this, because we're going to be getting into some seasons that are going to definitely have some meh or some bad episodes. But definitely a pretty good start for the first season. There were some problems with some episodes, but the fact is that none of them actually got a meh was pretty impressive. Like I said, some of them were close to getting a meh, but didn't quite make it to that. But let's go ahead and move on to the notes. The season 1 episode notes here, or season 1 in general notes. One thing I want to point out is Patrick is actually smarter in this, like in the season, than he is later down the road. Well, he gets dumber as time goes on, but like I said in the first, I think the first and second part of the episodes, he's actually a lot smarter. Or parts of my videos I made on YouTube, but he gets kind of dumber as the season goes on. But he's still a lot smarter than he is down the road here. Another thing is too that I've talked about too as well is the entire season is like cell animation. I really like the cell animation. It kind of sucks that a lot of cartoons don't have cell animation anymore. It especially looked really good on SpongeBob. I think maybe they used some concept, maybe for the water effect or something, maybe, I don't know. It just, the animation, for some reason, on SpongeBob just looks really good. It just sucks after this season, they kind of get rid of the cell animation. That said, though, there's still, like, 41 episodes that are still, got the cell animation in it, so that's still a lot of episodes. A lot of episodes that have the cell animation. Another thing is, too, that a lot of the characters are a bit different. Like, they act a bit different than they do down the road. Like I mentioned, Sandy, although they have an episode focusing on on her science. They really don't focus on it a lot. To be fair, though, they don't focus on it a lot in pre-movie in general. Like I said, I think Sandy's rocket was the only one to do that with. But SpongeBob also spends a lot of the time in this first part of the season, like, I think he's like flirting with Sandy or jealous of Larry or something, like they were kind of hinting at him liking her. To be fair, though, I'm kind of glad they didn't go that route, because I don't feel like SpongeBob needs a love interest, especially with Sandy. I feel like they could just be friends. But also, Mr. Krabs is definitely more, he's not as cheap. He's actually more of a father figure to SpongeBob, and treats his employees a lot better, which is really cool. And then, like I said, Patrick's a bit different. Like I said, Patrick's a lot smarter, too, and all that. And it definitely seems to have SpongeBob's back a bit more. There'll be some episodes down the road, even in a pre-movie era, where Patrick starts to not have SpongeBob's back as much, you know. I mean, he still will, but not as much. Which can kind of be you know, it can kind of make him kind of more unlikable and all that. Squidward I think Squidward kind of stayed the same. Squidward and Plankton kind of stayed the same. They kind of stayed the same, you know, throughout the entire show, pretty much. Well, Squidward, you know, they kind of got rid of his, soft side and kind of just focused more on his grumpy side, which kind of sucks, because I like his softer side, but they kind of kept that for a long time. Even after pre-movie era, they kind of had a little bit in, I think, season 4 and all that, where he kind of showed some caring and all that. But Sandy's design is also different, too. Yeah, Sandy's design is different, too, in the original season. She has a, instead of having her tail stick out and the acorn tag on her suit, I'm not sure if there's any other details, but those are the biggest notable, you know, changes I can find, you know, about her. They pretty much have her different design. I'm not sure why they didn't just keep this design. I kind of like this design more. To be fair, though, I don't mind her having maybe her squirrel tail out too. Or maybe they could add it like her acorn suit. But I don't know. It kind of, with her tail sticking out and all that, it kind of, I think it's a bit much. It kind of makes it question like why she even has a a suit on, you know, because the water kind of gets in there. But I don't know, but it's not that big of a change. The last one is there are no specials in this season. No specials. We do have, we have some holiday-themed episodes, but they're not, actual, specials. Double-linked episodes are more than 11 minutes. They're pretty much all, 11 minutes, or we have that one short, or the pilot episode, which is Help Wanted, which are shorter episodes. Which is really weird, because now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure every season after season 1 has at least one double-linked episode or a longer-themed episode. Because I think even Shanghai has, an episode that's, 14 minutes long. I could be wrong there. Now, I guess I could be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Which, that's kind of weird. But yeah, it's just kind of weird. There's literally no specials. No specials in this season at all. Now, I guess I don't know if season 11, 12's got a TV movie special. But I don't know if they have a double-linked episode either or not. I can't remember. But season 11, I don't remember. Season 10 has, I think it's their final episode. It's definitely a longer episode. It's a special kind of in a way. But for the most part, yeah, pretty much every season, SpongeBob has had at least one special in it, which is very weird, except season 1. But that's all the things I can point out in this season. There could be more, but I can't think of any right now. Even if I could, I can maybe just leave some others for other people to point out too, if they want to do reviews and stuff. But now let's move on to my characters here. So I want to talk about my characters, the Crown and the Joker characters. Now, I've talked about this at the beginning. I brought this up that there are actually, that instead of doing like my favorite and my least favorite episode of each season, unlike like the movie reviews I do, I want to do it like this because this is easier to do. I mean, I know my least favorite episode of this season, which is obviously I Was a Teenage Gary, but I don't know what my favorite is. It may be SB129. I don't know. There's a lot of good ones in this season. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna do characters here. But our first character here, like what we're gonna do with the crown, the king here, is Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs is probably my favorite character in this season. I like Mr. Krabs a lot. I like he cares about Spongebob, and there are some episodes that he's in that are really good. They don't focus on him too much. Like they don't have a lot of themed episodes around him, but he's really caring, especially in Hooky. Hooky's really good. Ark, he's good. Yeah, he's a little bit more cheap-sided there. That's probably his cheapest moment, but even in Squeaky Boots, he's had his cheap moments, but for the most part, he's a really good character. Like, I really like his character here. Now, don't get too used to this, because, even though he has some good episodes down the road, trust me, don't get too used to him getting the crown here. Because he will probably have he'll definitely have some downsides down the road. But that said, though, let's go on to the Joker episode here. And in this episode we have Karen, Karen in this season is the Joker, like my least favorite character in this season. One thing I want to point out, I actually forgot to add the color in the thing here. But I meant to color that in. But that said, though, yeah, this is probably, but she's probably my least favorite character in this season. There really aren't any characters that I hate in this season. My thing is with Karen is just kind of there. Like, she really doesn't have any roles. I mean, she does have, the, speaking role in Plankton, where she talks about Plankton having hot gas, which is kind of weird, like how he's mostly made of hot gas, and only 1% evil, which is kind of weird. I always thought that was kind of a weird joke. And like, fun. But for the most part, I don't think Karen really appears at all besides these two episodes. And she doesn't really have a role. She's just kind of there. I don't even think they even established that they're actually married in this season either. So yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, but that said, though, I still don't hate her. Like I said, I don't hate any really character in this season. I just wish that that she had more to do in this season. But that said, though, that's pretty much all I can say there. I think that's pretty much about it. Let me check here on yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all that's left. Yeah, so I guess I decided to do these last. Okay. I was making sure I didn't have, because I screenshotted some stuff and and all that, and because I've been going to doing Facebook and all that, because I'm going through some photos and all that from people, and why not just Facebook, other stuff too and all that, and because I'm I think even on this phone I have some personal secret passwords and all that, and all that stuff that I would rather not share, because if I share them, I gotta change the passwords. Especially some of these are for the internet and all that, so that's why I paused the video there. Otherwise I probably wouldn't even care too much. But that said, though, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was kind of a mess. I really tried to do my best I could. Next time I'll probably do less episodes per video and just do it that way. We'll see how that goes. But that said, though, thank you for the support, and I'll see you guys all later. Have a happy day, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye-bye.